as soon as I landed, instructors ran up to me. It's like, you failed. Like, you had one job. The only thing you had to do to pass was open your parachute. And I was like, yes, I did open my parachute. He's like, no, you didn't. And they played a video, and I watched the whole video, and they were 100% spot on. Like, my eyes are frozen. I'm staring at my altimeter, and I'm not opening the parachute.
What you say to yourself, especially your internal dialogue, is even more important than what you say to other people, right? Like
100%. Positive self-talk to me is one of the most important pillars of mental toughness. Because as you said, we could be our own worst enemies. We do self-talk, but so often our self-talk is negative self-talk, right? And we are our own worst enemies by saying things like, I can't, or I don't want to do this, or this sucks, or this is not going to be a good interview, or whatever. And then our thoughts becomes our action. Our thoughts become our beliefs, and our beliefs become our actions, right? And so that positive self-talk, constantly, like I have to do it all the time, every day, right? Like I'm always having to say, hey, you can do it. Like, don't worry about that. Like, don't stretch yourself out. Like, that person's not thinking this. Like, as you said, it's a constant process. And I don't think so many people realize how much they talk to themselves, as you said, but how much of their self-talk is negative self-talk. It's negative self-talk. We treat ourselves, worse a lot of times than other people treat us. As I said, I can be my own worst, my worst enemy at times. The mind is a powerful tool. It's a powerful tool.
And it still happens to you, right? And I'm asking this because a lot of people, when they look at individuals like yourself, they say, oh, this guy's a Navy SEAL. Like he never feels any fear. There are no self-doubts. He can do dips with 250 kg. He can run double marathon, right? But what people often don't realize is that it's a never-ending process, right? You don't just arrive and then it's over. You got to keep going. So I'm curious, and again, it's maybe one of those unconventional questions, but like I'm wondering, you still face self-doubt sometimes, right? And I'm curious, when you were writing that book, like, where did you have those moments when you're writing and you said to yourself, I know I should say it's hard, I shouldn't be saying I can't, but for fuck's sake, I don't know if I can finish this, man. Did you have that moment?
Not to that extent. Not to the extent where I didn't think I could finish it. Like I knew I would be, I could be. My publisher wanted to fire me as a writer. And they didn't think I could finish it. But the fact that they didn't have as much confidence in me as I would have liked, and this is not a hit on them. I was a first-time writer, writing a book for the first time. They were investing a lot of money in this book. When those doubts from the outside came, it fueled more. It made me want to prove them wrong. It made me want to prove that, hey, I can do this. I want to show them that I could do this, and their assessment was wrong. But as far as doubts, in the sense that I doubt decisions that I make sometimes. I don't think I ever doubt whether I can finish something. I doubt the decisions I make, the way I doubt the path that I take to get to the completion of that book or that screenplay or that social media post or that whatever. Like that's where most doubt comes in for me is, should I do this? How should I do this? Is this the right way to do this? But as far as doubting whether I can do it, no, that's not within me.
And then Remi, so when that comes up, how do you resolve it? Because a lot of people, when that comes up, they get paralyzed. Like doubt comes up, okay, I see the yellow light. I'm just gonna stay here and wait to see what happens, right? Without just taking this default aggressive action, just going after it. So when that doubt kicks in, inevitably, because you're just human, how do you handle that?
The first answer that comes to mind is I just do it. I just jump. Because once you're in the air, once you're falling, it's kind of like skydiving, right? Skydiving probably be the best way to explain it. Like, when you're at that door for the first time, for free fall specifically, and doubts creep in, those doubts will continue to grow and grow and grow and grow the longer you stay at that door.
Yeah.
Right? The doubts, even if you know you're going to do it, but those doubts as to whether, man, like, am I going to live? Is my parachute going to open? Is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? Like all of these doubts will come. And the longer you stay in that position or that yellow light or whatever you want to call it, it's just going to get worse. But if you jump, you jumped.
Yeah.
Even if you make a mistake in the air, you'll be able to figure out that mistake, right? You'll be able to work through that. You'll be able to work through that mistake. Biggest mistake you can make on your first jump is not opening your parachute. However, you know, because there's two instructors on each side of you holding you to keep you stable. You know, and if you don't open your parachute by certain, like I did on my first jump, I was so paralyzed with fear that I forgot to open my parachute. Like I was so paralyzed.
Holy shit.
I'll back up for a second to tell the full story. This will give the context and help with your question. So on my first jump up, in all honesty, I was terrified. I did static line, but static line is different. As soon as you jump out the plane, your parachute opens, right? But I was so fearful because it's just not natural for a human being to fall out of a plane, like to fall from the sky to earth. And I remember as we were going up in the air, but when I got to when it was time and there were guys jumping out before me, you know, they would jump, you see him fall. The next guy would jump, they would see him fall. Next guy would jump, you see him fall. I got to the door and he's like, "You ready?" Go. And in that instant, I knew, I was like, I cannot stay at this door for a millisecond. They say jump, I need to just do it, or I'm gonna destroy myself. And I jumped out of the plane, and I was in such shock that I didn't open my parachute.
Wow.
And I remember I'm falling through the sky, and I'm falling, free fall instructors on each side of me. It comes time to open my parachute. I look at my altimeter, which tells me how much feet I have left, and I don't open my parachute. I just freeze and I stare at my altimeter. and then instructors, this is the signal for pull. The instructors put their finger in front of my eye. They're like, I'm just staring.
That's dodgy. That's crazy.
And then finally, they reached in and opened my parachute for me. And when I got to the parachute opened, did my circuit, came and landed, did my route and landed. And as soon as I landed, instructors ran up to me. It's like, "You failed, you effing failed." Like, I failed. I was like, "Why? You had one job. The only thing you had to do to pass was open your parachute." I was like, "Yes, I did open my parachute." He's like, "No, you didn't." And I said, "I did. How do you think I survived? I want to be alive, but my Cypress would have blown if I didn't open my parachute. My Cypress didn't blow." And they said, "No, you didn't." And they finally realized that I was in such shock that I didn't realize. And they took me into the classroom because they had on GoPro cameras, and they played a video, and I watched the whole video, and they were 100% spot on. Like, my eyes are frozen. I'm staring at my altimeter, and I'm not opening the parachute. When you jump, you're gonna probably make mistakes. You know, I made a big mistake. I didn't open my parachute, but you know what? I was in process. And the thing was, that gave me the confidence for the second time when I went up like 30 minutes later to just jump out of the plane and open my parachute, right? And so, you know, how do you, when you're doubting, you know, how do you get over it? You just do it.
Yeah. Alright, so if you are still watching this video, the chances are you really enjoyed it. And if that's the case, well, first of all, thank you for your time, but also make sure that you subscribe and click on that little bell notification button. The simple reason is that if you don't click on it, you may not get notified when I publish new videos. Once again, thank you so much and have an amazing day.